So I just finished playing Horizon Zero Dawn, and while I enjoyed myself during my time in the game, there is a reason, or a few reasons, why it took me so goddamn long to complete. Why I didn't feel that urge to immediately jump onto my couch when I got home from work, boot up my PS4 and kick it off with some good old-fashioned robot dino hunting. I don't want to call this video a review, because at the time of writing this, I don't feel the need to give it a score or value. And also, like, seriously, why the fuck would you want to watch another review of this game 3 months, 24 days, 10 hours, 48 minutes, and 9 seconds at the time of writing this after the game's initial release? Now, I may change my mind about that, because, you know...
You don't know me.
Next week on the Days and Nights of Mrs. Pancakes.
Now, there will be spoilers in this video, just so you know. It's called a critical analysis for a reason. Now, without further ado, this is why I was not satisfied with Horizon Zero Dawn. A critical review. Analysis, fuck! Part 1, story. Let's set one thing on record right from the get-go. Fucking love apocalypse media. No, seriously, I fucking love it. I don't think you can fully comprehend how much I enjoy and love this genre.
Would you suck someone's dick for it?
What?
Hey man, I'm not judging, I'm just asking.
You can't just ask that, man. That's really inappropriate.
Yeah, but would you though?
Yeah, probably. The story of Huzzard, as I'm now going to call it, is in my opinion the best part of the game. You play as Aloy, or... an outcast girl who gets thrust into an adventure by her tribe to stop the raving horde of crazed fanatics and robots from destroying the world, while simultaneously discovering what happened to the humans of the past. Now, I'm a big fan of having a split narrative structure. When it's done right, it can be an extremely effective storytelling tool. An example of this is Heavy Rain. This is the perfect example of a split narrative story. Having multiple storylines influencing each other is amazing and very interesting. If in one encounter you miss one or more pieces of information, you can still complete the game, but you may not get the whole story, or some elements will be unexplained, which makes you want to play again. The possibilities of storytelling are immense and widely varied, so it's a shame to me that the story in Huzzard, although well constructed and interesting at points, didn't take advantage of this, and it felt very, very empty, like the affections of a distant parent. On the surface, it's shiny and amazing and interesting, but when you start to dig down, you find that there's nothing much there except exposition, shiny images, and disappointments. And it's a real shame. Most of, if not all, of the backstory is given to you through holograms, audio logs, or text logs, and while interesting to see and listen to, there just wasn't enough there to invest me. I can only stand being talked at for so long, and pretty much the entire pre-apocalypse story is presented to you like this. The main story itself is a tale that you have heard many times before, with a few slight zesty twists thrown in here and there, but it falls short of being amazing and nestles itself comfortably in the kingdom of good, alongside the border of meh, just to the south of the city of okay. And to me, there's little worse than that kind of comfort. It feels like a comfort in mediocrity. There are a few key story moments that were done so poorly that I had to replay them again just to make sure I saw them properly. For example, there was this big escape scene in the game. If you played the game, you know the one I'm talking about, where you wrestle your freedom from the clutches of the main antagonist. Well within sight and range of his city, within range of his armies, and definitely within range of his world-destroying Dinobots. And you know what he did? Nothing. He did nothing at all. He didn't chase me down, he didn't send his armies after me, the dinos didn't come out to play. Fuck, I even walked back into his city after finishing that mission and went shopping. Now, these might just be little issues, but it made me feel like nothing was important. No decisions or events outside the main campaigns held weight, and the experience was partially ruined because of it. Another point is at the very end, when Aloy discovers the preserved body of her mother, and there's this sort of like touching reuniting at last moment. I just couldn't bring myself to give a fuck about it. There were too many little questions running through my head. How did Sobek manage to get past all those death machines that were looking for bioorganic material to harvest and travel roughly 700-ish miles so that she could die at her farm? How did she manage to preserve her body so she could be found sitting in front of her homestead 1,019 years after she died? How did Aloy manage to duct tape a destroyed robot conversion part onto her spear and get it to work properly? How the fuck did this bitch have kids? It all felt extremely cobbled together, and it was just held very loosely by my willing suspension of disbelief.
Hey!
What?
Shut the fuck up! Why can't you just enjoy it for what it is?
Am I not allowed to expect a little more from a game that has gotten top scores across all review platforms?
No! Now shut the fuck up and enjoy yourself!
Part 2, gameplay. There's not a whole lot to say in regards to gameplay. You get a selection of slightly varied weapons, categorized in rarity and ammo type, but you'll end up using the hunter and sharpshooter bow to kill everything except those fucking stormbirds. Or you'll just hide perfectly well in waist-high grass, whistle for things to come over to you one at a time so you can either stealth kill the shit out of them or convert them to your side so they can fight for you. You unlock skills as you earn experience, but all you really need is to unlock the skill that lets you slow down time so you can shoot them with your bow, or sneak better, so you can stealth murder all of them. All in all, it comes across as very rushed and shallow. There are elements of great gameplay here, but it just doesn't hit home. It feels like an empty shell of what it should be. And it's such an odd experience. It seems like there are a lot of ideas here that are only half implemented and not fully fleshed out. For example, let's briefly talk about the travel system. Personally, I had no intention of walking around the map more than once if I could help it. Let's be honest, I'm a lazy motherfucker. But the game made it ludicrously easy for me to achieve this. All you need to do is stumble across a fast travel point once and you can always zip straight back to it whenever you feel like. There's so many of those fucking fire pits dotted around the map, I'm surprised Aloy didn't accidentally trip into one and suffer from third-degree burns. In the beginning of the game, they limit the amount of times you can travel between them, because every time you do, you use a travel pack. This is great, in my opinion, because it means that I actually have to make sure I'm stocked up enough before I set out. I have to make sure that the decision to fast travel is worth the cost of maybe not being able to do it later. I have to prepare for the reality that I might die because I'm low on health and I can't get to a city fast enough safely on foot. It gives your decisions weight, but fuck that. They give you the option to craft a gold travel pack that you can use indefinitely. It wasn't even a reward for a difficult quest, it was just something you could craft whenever, and I had it within the first hour of gameplay.
Why'd you stop talking?
This is usually the part where you interrupt me.
No, man, I actually agree with you on this one.
Oh, okay, well. All these things and more lead to the game as a whole feeling extremely shallow and unsatisfying. Even hunting and killing the big dinosaur robots wasn't satisfying or fulfilling after the first time you experienced it.
That's what she said.
Ah, god damn it! Part 3, graphics and sound design. What can I say? Honestly, the graphics and art of this game are wonderful. There are very, very few times that I saw things that ruined my immersion. The music and sound design were incredibly well done, composed by, and I'm probably gonna fuck this up, Joris de Man, The Flight, Niels van der Leest, Julie Elven, and Lucas van Tol. I even have some of the songs from the game in my iTunes library now.
You don't even have iTunes, you Samsung fanboy.
Not the point. Conclusion! I know that I've nitpicked a lot in this video, and the game viewed from the surface isn't bad at all. This was an enjoyable game, and on a certain level, what more can you really ask from a game? But I just can't bring myself to say that I think this is a great game. I know that it's a game that I probably won't be picking up again, and it's a shame. At least until the second one comes out, because it fucking ended on a cliffhanger. I wasn't angry or upset about my experience with it. I was just incredibly impartial, and somehow I think that's worse. Anyway, I just finished downloading Get Even, so I'm gonna go play that.
Get even? Well, they get keen, boy.
Wow, that's actually a pretty cool way to announce the next video I'm gonna be doing.
Shut the fuck up and release more content, loser.
Oh.